Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Pits of Motorcast. This is your host, Dave. I got online special guest, former Nitro dragster driver Allan McFadyen. How you doing, Alan?
Very good. How about yourself, Dave?
Not bad at all. So how was your Christmas?
Christmas was very good and very fast. 1, 2, 3 all over, and now we just wait till New Year's and on to the next year.
Yeah, 2020 is right around the corner.
It sure is.
2019 flew by.
It did, and every year goes a little faster, I guess. Everybody says the same thing, so I guess we get used to it.
It seems like the older we get, the faster the years fly by.
That is for sure. That's for sure.
So, Alan,
we got some good years left.
Yeah. So what year did you begin your drag racing career?
Well, I actually started out racing a bodied car back in 1969, 68, and that was a short-lived thing. Then I was out of drag racing until 1973, when I decided to buy my first dragster, and that was my first car was a Logie B-fuel dragster and small block Chevy injected on nitro. We started to run the thing first, getting our feet wet here with on alcohol, and switched it over to nitro and did really well with the car.
So was that a front engine or rear engine?
That was a front engine car and a very short car. I think the wheelbase on that car was 125 or so. So it was a very short car, but handled pretty good. It was a good, well-built car.
How long did you run that dragster for?
That car I had till 1974, and I sold that car and bought another front-engine dragster, an A-fuel car. I put a big block Chevy in and injected on nitro for the 1975 season, and that was the old Charlie Croix Telstar car.
Did you have any success with these two cars?
Yep. The B-fuel car up at Kakona, we had set the track record in 1974 with that car, and by the end of 1974, we were what were we running? I think we were running like low eights with the car at 180, 85 miles an hour, right in that area. And then the A-fuel car, I only ran that car for one season, 1975, and that car ran in the mid sevens, low sevens, at about 195, 198. So it had a good mile an hour to that car with a big block Chevy.
So after that one, what'd you start running?
Well, and then in 1976, I went to a rear engine car. And that was a 235-inch car. It was the old Swedberg and DeWars top fuel car. So, again, we ran a big block Chevy with that car, blowing on alcohol, and competed with in an NHRA with that car in 1976 and 1977. And did really well with that car. 76 struggled a little bit, would qualify at some of the races, and in 1977 we did really well with it. Got it figured out and got that car running in the 680s. So just shy of 200 mile an hour with that car. And everybody was running anywhere between 690 and 7.0s back then. So we did really well with the car running 680s. So we were competitive. We were 200ths off of a new record with the car, and 680 was the record for a big block Chevy back then. So we ran 682. So we felt pretty good to do that.
Then how long did you run that dragster for?
That car, I sold that car in 1980, let's see here. 1980, I think I sold that car. 79 or 80. And then I bought another rear engine car, RCS car, and then decided to, I ran it on alcohol for a short time and then converted that car over to big block Chevy again to top fuel. We tried running top fuel with that car in 1980 and didn't have a lot of success with it. We blew a lot of parts up with it. So it was fun while it lasted, but it was getting a little tiring. We kept hurting parts. That was before computers,
Right.
so we didn't have any computers to kind of help us along here. So we get some input from Dale Wilch and a couple other Chevy guys, and so we ran for a while, but we weren't out too often with it. It was just getting so costly to run the car.
So what year did you run that one till?
That car, I retired that car after I got hired on to run with Chuck Seiler. We had been making some passes with this Chevy Top Fuel car out at Union Grove, and had met Chuck Seiler and his parents out there, which they all owned their new Top Fuel car. And so we got to know Chuck pretty well, and I kept in contact with him, and all of a sudden I got a call, Chuck asking me if I was interested in running his car. I said, why, sure. Well, that's when I sold my Chevy car and just started running with Chuck. And I believe that was like 1981 or so, 80 or 81, somewhere in there. And we ran AHRA, some IHRA, and quite a bit of NHRA.
Were you pretty successful in Chuck's dragster?
Yeah, we did okay. We did. We didn't do that many races at first. I'd say we probably that first year of racing we were at about 6 or 8 events. But the car did all right. It had the Keith Black in it at the time, and we did qualify the car. So it was competitive with all the other heavy hitters out there.
Now later down the road, didn't you go against Chuck's dragster?
Well, actually, I drove for Chuck all the way up till 91, and so there was just a short stint in there for one season where I ran a jet car out on the East Coast for Art Gallant, and that was a short-lived thing, being that I crashed that car. It went through the lights and the nose went up. It caught air and went over, and so that was a fairly short-lived stint there with the jet car. So then I went back with Chuck Seiler in 1989, I believe it was, and that's when we had set the record with the Ford. Just before I had left Chuck, they had switched over to the Ford Power. They ran a Allen Root engine at first, and then they bought all the patents from Nick Arias for the Shotgun 429, and so we got that car out there and did really well with it. That car showed a lot of promise. So we ran that up until 1991. 1990 is when we set the record.
I thought I read somewhere though that you went against Chuck's dragster and later after you drove for him.
No, I never. It was always I was always with Chuck in Top Fuel. and that was the only top fuel car that I ever ran. Was the other the only other car that I didn't own that I ran was with Chuck Seiler. So that was strictly just Chuck Seiler that I ran with.
Yeah, I'm sure I saw you run one of your dragsters at the Grove because my dad started taking me to Great Lakes Dragway and US 30 dragster when I was about 4 or 5, and now I'm 51, so I'm sure I saw you run at one of those events.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, US 30 we ran quite a few times. We actually ran, I think, the last time that they ever had that track open, we were there. And and Union Grove is where we did the best, though. Union Grove, like the Don Garlett's PRO race back in 1977. I'm sorry, 1984, I think. Or 77 was the PRO. That's right. But we had a match race with Garlett's in 1984 at Union Grove for the Olympics of drag racing, and had beat him there. So that was a feather in our hat and made us feel real good.
So what's your greatest memory of Broadway Bob, Allan?
Oh, well, let's see. There's quite a few of them. He was one of the best promoters out there. Bob was a nice guy, easy to get along with, especially in the later years. I would have to say the best memory was the Olympics back in the 80s. 1984, he had put on such good shows there. And I really think that a lot of people didn't appreciate Bob until he was gone. He was one heck of a promoter. Super nice guy.
Yeah, he knew how to bring in a good show over there.
He sure did. He sure did.
Yeah, I miss those days.
Yeah, I sure do too. I think we all do. That Union Grove was a really good place to run. The cars weren't that fast, and being that it is a somewhat short shutdown area there, it could be rough to stop a car if you're getting up close to 300. But back in the day, you run 240, 250. It wasn't too bad to stop there. So, but that was kind of the heyday was back in the 80s and 90s, and after that it was, well, the big power cars weren't really there that much then.
Yeah, you don't get much nitro methane at Great Lakes Dragway anymore.
Nope, you sure don't. You sure don't.
Yeah, that's what I miss, the big nitro shows that Broadway Bob used to put on.
Yes, yeah.
You know, I love people like Doc Holliday and, Diamond Dave and all those nostalgia guys, but, I need to see something different in there once in a while.
Yes, exactly, yes. Yeah, Diamond Dave, we go back quite a few years also. Another good friend of mine, and when he had run the Telstar with Charlie Proit, so that was the sister car to our car. Our last nostalgia top fuel car was pretty much an identical car to the Telstar car from back in the 90s, and theirs was a Donovan powered car, and ours was the Chevrolet, and Dave Miller was in that car, and me in the Chevrolet car. So we go back quite a few years. Haven't seen him now in a while, but I'm sure we'll run across him again. But Holiday I see, and Jerry Newman out at Union Grove, and once in a while we get together for a party. So it's nice to see all these guys.
Yeah, you got to come out to the Grove for like Memorial Day weekend or Labor Day weekend and you see Diamond Dave run that dragster.
Right, yes. Yep. I'll try to make it out there. I haven't been out there. I don't think it's been probably 2 years since I've been out to that track now.
Yeah, come out and see Dave run. I don't think he's going to be running that much longer. He's getting up there in age.
He sure is. Yeah, he's in his 70s now. So yeah, it's although you look at Chris Karamesini's out
Yeah,
there,
yeah, exactly.
he's in his 90s running yet.
Yeah. Then Doc Holliday's getting up there too.
He sure is, and that's another guy that's one of the nicest guys you could ever meet.
Oh, yeah.
Doc is just a super guy, and Jerry that tunes it for him, Jerry Newman, we go way back also, and Jerry's just another guy you just can't beat.
Yep, that's Mr. Nitro right there.
Right, yes, yep.
Yeah, then you got your youngsters like Jim Young and Jason Greenwood. Yeah,
Right.
Tim Conan.
Yes, yep.
All great,
Yeah.
all great guys.
Yeah, they sure are. And to run with these guys out there today for what it costs, I give them a lot of credit to be out there competing because it's a tough deal today.
Yeah, Nitro's just getting more expensive.
Yep, it sure is, and it's not forgiving when you make a mistake. It usually costs you quite a few bucks to get the thing back together.
Yeah. So Allan, what got you into drag racing in the first place?
Well, the first time I was out at the track to see all the Nitro funny cars run, I was up in the tower watching the race. A friend of mine, Bill Reeves, that used to drive for Mike Marinoff when I was just a kid, he got me up in the tower to watch the Coke Cavalcade of Stars run, the Nitro funny cars. And so this is going back 1968, 69, somewhere around that time. And that's what hooked me, is watching these Nitro cars run. One of my favorite cars out there was Bernie Adams with the Dale Chevy Super Hugger car. And I used to hang around his shop when he was back in Milwaukee, back in the 60s, and he's pretty much responsible for getting me hooked on a fuel car. And so when I saw these cars run back then, I thought, someday I am going to run one of these things. It wasn't a funny car, but it was in drag racing with a dragster. So it did hook me. It's a fatal disease.
So Bernie was one of your biggest influences?
Bernie Adams, yes. Yep.
Now, did you have any other drag racers that inspired you when you were young?
Yeah, the other one, too, was watching Garlitz run. Garlitz was just, hard how they beat that guy. The guy was so good. And so I thought, boy, just someday just to race against the guy would be so cool. Well, and we did. And we matched raced Garlitz, I would say, probably more than anybody else out there. Every time we were at Union Grove, we usually had Garlitz in the first round. So raced him quite a few times and got a chance to run all the different cars that he experimented with. When he had the turbine engine in it, we ran that car. Then his Sidewinder car, we ran against that one. So that was really a special time to be running against all these different cars that he'd come out with. And we beat him like a total of 4 times with all the other cars that he had out there. And so it was really a fun time. It was a great time to be drag racing.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you that question. How'd you do against Big Daddy?
Yeah, that first round in 1984, I remember running him. I was in the left lane, and I gate shot at him. I got out on him, and I could hear him running right next to me, and going through the lights, he passed me through the lights, but I had beat him already, and he lost an engine on that run. So I saw a big ball of flames come out from underneath the car, and he lost an engine trying to run us down. So, but we did beat him, and that felt so good to take out the biggest guy in drag racing.
I can imagine.
Yeah, it was good. It was fun. I'd love to do it all over.
So, what was the experience like for you the first time ever driving a nitro car?
The first time driving a blown nitro car is so different from an injected nitro car. The injected cars, make a ton of horsepower, but nothing like a blown car. First time running a blown car was with my own Chevrolet on nitro. And we really didn't get the feel for top fuel, being that we wounded that thing so many times. And then I got that offer to run for Chuck Seiler, and then moved right into his car. And that was the first time in a real top fuel car that ran pretty good. It was very exciting. Did some shakedown runs at Union Grove, and I got to say that it felt just like being at home in that car. So it was a good feeling. The car performed well. It was a really good handling car. It was an S&W car. So it was a well-built car, first time in that top fuel car, I can't tell you how good I felt to be in a top fuel car.
Now, when you were drag racing, was your family involved with the drag racing?
Nope, I was the only one out of our family that ever got involved in drag racing. My parents, I think, were out at the drag strip in 1977 one time. I think, and that was it. And no other family members ever got involved in drag racing.
Wow.
So, but nothing was going to hold me back. I know everybody thought I was crazy. But it was just too much fun to not do it.
Yeah, you had that need for speed.
Yes. And it did take absolutely every penny that you had, and pour it into these cars to get out there to run with everybody. But it was all worth it. I'd do it all over again.
Now, when you were out there on the track racing, did you have any pre-race rituals or superstition when you were out there on the starting line?
No, never did. I'd say a little prayer sometimes, to Lord, keep me safe, and that was pretty much it. And let me beat the other guy.
Now, besides Great Lakes Dragway, what other tracks were your favorites?
I always liked Englishtown, New Jersey. That was always a track that we did fairly well at. Car usually ran well there. It's weird because we could go to some tracks time after time after time again. Like St. Louis, we never had good luck down there. And when I had my own cars too, it's just one of those tracks you go to every time you go there, we'd break something. But Englishtown was really good. Where else? We did well in Topeka. And so they were some favorite tracks. Indy, I liked Indy a lot. Atco, New Jersey was a nice track too, but I don't, it wasn't my favorite, I guess, because that's where I crashed the jet car.
That would not be a favorite.
Right. Yeah. But Pomona was always nice too. I loved it out there in California to race it. it was so scenic and a lot to see out there in a beautiful track, nice facility. So that was one of our top ones also.
Did you ever go to Bakersfield?
Nope, never ran Bakersfield. No, I always wanted to, but never out there. I was maybe one of these days I'd like to go out there to the March meet, but so far haven't been out there.
Yeah, that everyone keeps telling me, oh, you need to go out there one of these days. You got to experience all the nitro out there.
Yes, I've heard that the nostalgia fuel meets out there are just awesome. Someday I would love to see it. It's on my list.
So do you have a lot of stuff on your bucket list still for drag racing?
I think I did pretty much I would have loved to have stayed out there longer, but financially it was so hard for sailors to stay out there. So that kind of ended, and I had another couple of rides lined up, but they fell through. I had to come into these deals with sponsorship, and so we had sponsorship lined up for racing another Top Fuel car for a Chicago-based car, Ralph White, but that was just after 9/11, and the businesses, everybody's business kind of came to a halt after 9/11, so that put our Top Fuel plans kind of on the back burner. So, and then after that, I just never did get anything lined up after that to get back out there, and I didn't want to go back out with an alcohol car or anything like that. If I was going to do it, I wanted to be back out in Top Fuel.
Now, if someone asked you to get behind the seat of a Top Fuel dragster and do a run, would you do it?
You bet, in a heartbeat. Yes, I would have to say I would do it. Yeah, just to get that feeling again, to be out there, and now too, the horsepower that these cars make compared to what we did. We were lucky to be making 7,000 or 8,000 horsepower not that long ago, but now 11,000, 12,000 horsepower. But it's got to be a pretty cool ride.
Oh yeah. I'm sure you'd be happy to even get back behind the seat of like a nostalgia front engine dragster, even.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, the front engine cars after a while, I wasn't crazy about them. I got so used to the rear engine car. If you lost an engine or if you pushed some gaskets out, burnt a piston or two or whatever, you didn't get a face full of oil like the front engine cars. And so that's I got you so used to the rear engine ones, and that was my favorite. Be back in a rear engine car. The nitro funny cars, I never drove a blown nitro funny car, but that would be one I'd love to try also someday. But you just never know.
Yeah, you never know. You're still, you're not old enough to retire. You look at, like we said, look at the Greek out there. So.
Yeah. Well, he does give me inspiration. That's for sure.
That I don't know if you know Jimmy Montgomery, but he's about to drive a nostalgia alcohol funny car. He just got the thing I believe last year or this year.
Yep, I saw him on Facebook with that thing, and I give him all the credit too. For him to get back out there, I hope he does really well. I mean, he's such a nice guy.
Oh yeah.
I hope he does really well.
Yeah, he's up in his 70s.
Yes.
Yeah, so yeah. Hopefully someone.
Yeah, there's quite a.
Hopefully someone will ask you to drive for them. That would be cool.
Yeah, that would be fun. I won't hold my breath because I'm getting to be an older guy too. So, but But the thought's always there.
Even to make one pass down the track.
Yeah, yes, exactly. But yeah, it's once it's in your blood, it's hard to get it out. You just it's a very addicting sport.
So now, throughout your drag racing career, what milestones did you hit?
The milestones. Let's see. Well, the alcohol car back in '77, running 682 with that car. That was a milestone, and running against Garlitz and beating them, another milestone, and setting the record, breaking Connie Coletta's record with the fastest Ford top fuel car. That was another milestone. So we had quite a few of them out there.
So what would you consider to be the fondest memory of your drag racing career?
Beating Garlitz. That was the one that did it for me. And Garlitz did give us so much help when we run at Union Grove, even other tracks. I mean, if we needed some input or how to change something on the car or how to adjust something, he was always there helping. He was just the nicest guy in drag racing.
Now, how about your most memorable race? That would be beating Garlitz too?
That sure would, yes. Yep, that 1984 race, Olympics of drag racing at Union Grove, was the highlight. That was the best time I ever had, was beating him.
Now, did you ever race the Greek?
Oh yeah, Greek signed my license.
Ah.
Yep, years ago, and Chris was just the nicest guy too. I mean, he was just a super person. We match raced him quite a few times at Union Grove, and I'm so glad to see him out there yet. That he's doing as well as he is at his age.
And how'd you do against Chris?
We beat him a couple of times at the Grove in a match race, but he's also did his share of beating us. So yeah, I'd say he beat us a whole lot more than we beat him.
Now, did you ever race Shirley Chacha Modani?
Yes, quite a few times at Union Grove we did. We qualified against her at the Spring Nationals, NHRA race at Columbus. And some other races also. We got some pictures of us against her. We were never, from what I can remember, against her in any NHRA competition. But she was pretty tough lady to beat also.
So did you get any wins against her?
Pardon?
I said, did you get any wins against Shirley?
Nope, never did. Never did against Shirley.
Now, can you think of one of your most embarrassing moments on the track?
Most embarrassing moment? I'm sure we had some. Probably blowing up our top fuel Chevrolet. The rear engine car that we ran back in late 70s, running on I think we started out running like a 75% load of nitro in it. Well, we managed to blow one of the heads actually right off the car. So that was probably the worst of it. Blowing that thing up so bad. I think those parts are still orbiting the Earth.
Wow.
Yeah, that was the worst of it. The most embarrassing one. That had to top it.
All right. Now, if you were able to do time traveling and go back into time, would you have done anything differently with the drag racing career?
I don't think I would change. I don't think I'd do anything different. I would love to go back to drag racing and know what I know now, and then go back, 20 years, 30 years ago. But I can't say that I would really do anything different because at times we did pretty well. I would have loved to have had more money. As if I know everybody else was in the same boat too. If you had a lot of money, it sure made it easier. But when I ran myself, and even with Seiler, we never had a huge abundance of used parts or any parts to put back into this car or any car. It was a tough deal, so we had to make everything last. And having a few more bucks sure would have helped.
So when you ran Chuck's car, was there any sponsorship at all?
Yes, we had giant Whitlock Strum, stack-on tools, toolboxes, and then just a ton of small backers. So we did have sponsorship, and it was still tough though. The money that came in from those sponsors helped a lot, but it didn't supply us with a ton of parts, which we did need, and so you couldn't lean on it like you would like to, because you didn't want to wound anything and not come back. So we have to be conservative.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask you a few fun questions here.
Sure.
What is Allan's favorite food to eat?
What was that, Dave, again?
I said, what is Allan's favorite food to eat?
Food to eat. Okay, let's see. I'd have to say probably just a good old cheeseburger.
No, you're an easy guy to feed.
Yeah.
So
yeah, although a lobster sounds good once in a while also.
Steak and lobster.
Yes.
So what's your favorite beverage?
Favorite beverage? Oh, boy. I would have to say probably a beer.
Any certain kind?
If I have a beer, which I used to have quite a few of them years ago, but today, if I have one here and there, boy, that's a lot. But I'd say a Miller Lite is my favorite.
What's your favorite non-alcoholic beverage?
Raspberry iced tea, I think.
Oh, that's good. So what's your favorite music to listen to?
I like blues and soul music. 70s, 60s, 70s, 80s.
Now, going back to when you were a youngster, Allan, did you have a favorite cartoon when you were growing up?
I can't recall a favorite cartoon.
How about a TV show?
A TV show? Well, when I was a real little kid, I used to like Sea Hunt.
I've heard of that show.
Yeah, Lloyd Bridges, scuba diving, and because I always wanted to scuba dive, and I did do that years ago. I ended up buying a tank and going diving and loved it.
Now, if you didn't get into drag racing, what do you think you would have done with your life?
Well, that's kind of hard to say too. I don't know. Let's see. What would I have done? It would have been some sort of a business. I think because I always liked being in business. gee, I don't know. I don't know what I would have done if I didn't drag race. Hard to really say. I probably would have just been happy. I think running a business, car lot or auto body shops that I had, in real estate business.
All right. Now, do you have any pet peeves?
Pet peeves. Sure, I do have some. Probably being late. I'm really not crazy about people that say they're going to be over at a certain time or meet you somewhere and they're not on time. I guess that would probably be one of the bigger ones.
Now, throughout your whole drag racing career, what kept you passionate about doing it all the years?
Well, it was all the camaraderie out there, the people that you raced with and raced against. It was just such a cool group of people in the competition. Just to race out there, if you can beat the other guy, that's what kept me out there. Knowing that even you'd be let down so many times in drag racing, as everybody knows that has done it for a while. You think you're going to go out there and do real well, and you blow something up or go out in the first round or whatever. But that drive, as you're driving back home, you're just thinking of what are you going to change on the car? What are you going to do different to get this thing to perform better the next time you get it out there? And so that drive is just keeps you going in drag racing.
Yeah, and that camaraderie still holds true to this day with all the newer drag racers. They tell me the same thing you say, the camaraderie in drag racing. You know, all the fans, even with the fans, meeting fans, and they become friends with fans, and the drag racing family just grows bigger and bigger and bigger throughout the years.
Right. Yes. Yep. Yeah. It is. It's a tight-knit family and totally different than any other kind of racing. I'm sure of that.
Yeah. So how important do you think it is for the kids to come out to watch drag racing in this day and age?
Well, I got a hunch that it's probably not as good right now as it used to be. You just don't see the kids out there like we did years ago. I think if more families did get their kids out to watch a race, they'd be more inspired. It would definitely get the kids away from computers and, get their hands dirty and do something mechanical. Yeah. They'd find out that they're going to have a lot of fun with it, and I think that it would change a lot of kids' attitudes today.
Yeah, some people say it'd be nice just to get the kids out of the house, to do anything out of the house.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Yep.
Instead of stuck to the video games all hours and hours and hours.
Right. Yeah, you just feel better if you're doing something, moving around, and you got your mind occupied on a race car. If they get inspired to run a car, it's definitely a good thing.
Oh yeah. Well, Allan, I want to thank you very much for taking time to do this interview with me.
Well, thank you, Dave. I really appreciate it. I just had a great time.
Do you have any final words?
Can't think of anything off the top of my head except hopefully see you at the drag strip.
Yeah, I hope you come out either Labor Day weekend or Memorial Day weekend. I'll see you up there.
I'll definitely make an effort to get out there.
And I'll save your number. I'll text you and see if you're coming out at all.
Sounds great, Dave. Excellent.
And I hope you have a Happy New Year.
Thank you so much, Dave. To you and your family also. And have a safe, wonderful New Year.
Thanks. You have a great night.
Okay. Thanks, Dave.
You're welcome. Maybe we'll do another one in the future.
Sounds perfect. Sounds wonderful.
Okay. Have a great night.
Thanks. You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now. Bye-bye.